Post. Tonight, we have team coverage during the election here in Minnesota. Our Eric Shalou is tracking the latest from the Democrats in Minneapolis. And Jay Coles is in Bloomington following our local Republicans. But first, our Steve Tellier joins us live in the studio with the latest in the race for the White House.
Lindsay.
It's all happening very soon. Thank you, Steve. Our team coverage continues as we track the DFL this election day. And that's where we find 5 Eyewitness News reporter Eric Shalou. He is in downtown Minneapolis. Eric. All right, thank you, Eric. And meanwhile, Minnesota Republicans are in Bloomington awaiting the results of today's election. That's where our Jay Coles is live right now with the latest. Hey, Jay. Since August, political reporter Tom Hauser has put many political ads through the 5 Eyewitness News Truth Test. Tonight, we have a report card on all of those tests. Tom and Stephen Shear of Carleton College join us now with that. Hey, guys.
And Lindsay, how fitting. I have a college professor here with me to deliver this report card.
Our team coverage in the field continues now with the 2nd District congressional race. Our Katherine Johnson is in Minneapolis tracking the latest from Democrat Angie Craig. And Jessica Miles is tracking Republican Jason Lewis's campaign. We'll start with Jessica live in Bloomington. And you couldn't ask for better election day weather, easy as it could be to get out.
Very pretty. Not only here, though, all across the country. There weren't any really big trouble spots.
That can make a difference.
Yeah, there were some scattered showers, but I think countrywide, we're looking at a very, very nice election day.
You can also track all of our reporters' social media postings. Thank you so much for joining us. First at 4:30, much more news coming up for you at 5, including we'll have the latest on the Blaine kidnapping death investigation. Of course, much more to talk about with this election. It's just getting started. Thanks for joining us. More news in minutes.
A day of triumph as businessman turned politician Donald Trump wins the presidential election.
No dream is too big, no challenge is too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach.
His hopeful message for a united future.
Our best days are still ahead of us.
Plus, how party leaders are stepping up to bridge America back together after a contentious election. And how households across Minnesota are taking steps to reconcile their political differences.
It was a late night for America with a very tight presidential race, but in the end, Republican Donald Trump is now our president-elect. Our Kevin Dorn joins us live in studio with the strong messages both Trump and his political rival are sending out today.
And 6 o'clock. Lindsay?
All right, Kevin. Now, here in Minnesota, Clinton beat out Trump with 47% of the vote, but it was a narrow win with nearly 43,000 votes separating the two. This presidential election divided the nation. You could even find some of those deep divisions among family and friends. Our Joe Mason has some advice on how to start the healing process. But despite congressional wins for the DFL party, state leaders are now bracing for legislative gridlock. Our Tom Hauser is live at the state capitol where Republicans will likely take control of both chambers of the legislature. Tom.
Yeah, Lindsay.
This election season has brought plenty of twists and turns leading up to where we're sitting right now. Joining me right now at 4:30 is Carleton College political scientist Stephen Shear. He joins us with expert analysis. You've been with us all yesterday, this morning. Thanks for being back with us.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about the Trump effect. It did have a great effect on lots of races in Minnesota. It helped a lot of Republicans. First of all, let's talk about that. Second part of the question, why do you think it didn't help Mills more?
Okay, first, when we first got the exit polls from Minnesota, it showed a dead heat between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. I knew something was up. And the exit polls also showed that Trump was winning by a large margin in greater Minnesota, outside of Minneapolis and St. Paul. That proved to be the case. And as a result, Republicans did particularly well at the state legislative level, and some really underfunded and obscure GOP congressional challengers in the 7th and the 1st almost knocked off Democratic incumbents.
I really thought this would play a role in the 8th congressional district.
Yeah, I did too. The 8th is a surprise because Mills in our previous poll for KSTP was ahead. But if you look at St. Louis County and Duluth, Hillary Clinton carried that by 12%, and Rick Nolan did very well as well there. That was enough. 2,000 votes, just enough.
Yeah, it was very tight. All right, let's look at the fact that Republicans will likely hold both chambers of the Minnesota legislature. What does that really mean to the common everyday Minnesotan?
Well, one thing many people may not be aware of is that the legislature can put constitutional amendments on the ballot in 2018 without any involvement of the governor. And that may be an agenda item for the new Republican legislature. Beyond that, big policy differences between the executive branch and the legislature. How that works out, we'll have to wait and see.
All right, let's talk about these polls really quick. We have just a little bit of time. What in the world happened?
Listening to Nate Silver today, he makes following point. The polls were 2.5% off, which is in the margin of error. And when you have a tie race, you're going to have a bunch of polls that get it wrong. And that's what we had nationally, a tie race.
Well, no one was calling this.
No. Well, there were a couple polls.
A couple.
And we could talk about
We'll talk more. All right, thank you so much.